everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Thank you again so much for tuning in. I'm Simmer Chase, and today we're back at the Federalist building. Yes! So we're almost done finishing this building out. Woohoo! Then we'll move on to a lot more exciting, maybe even paranormal builds. Yes, and I have a lot more stories coming too. I can't wait for you guys to stay tuned, and I hope to see you all soon on the channel again. And if you haven't yet, please like and subscribe in the links below. And I'm always glad to hear the comments and take feedback. I'm always looking to improve and just kind of grow along with you guys. So today we are doing a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom unit. This one is actually one of my funny ones because it actually ended up getting because, you know, as you go down in space, this is a good challenge for maybe you guys too, is to kind of build yourself out of a box. So divide up a box into a couple different units and then try and see without going back and deleting any walls or anything after that. So you're almost making your own shell challenge to do, but basically, you know, shell it out. And then as you go along, don't do any of the other parts really, just basic maybe one wall shell sort of thing to divide them up, but that's it. And then as time progresses, go and complete them and see what kind of space you can muster together, so to speak, to create your last units. Because for me, it was actually a lot of fun to get the 13 units to fit in this lot. But there are, 6 downstairs, 7 upstairs, and then some are 2-floor, little apartments or condos, I guess you could call them. And then there's others that are 3-story, townhouses and tall ones that have skylights and all that kind of stuff. So it's just kind of, pick your poison a little bit on this place. And it's fun because I really enjoy being able to kind of share what I've learned through time and then from experiences stuff in history that I'm aware of. So today's unit is actually Rhode Island. Yeah, so when I think of Rhode Island, I think of a lot of really awesome seafood. I think of old boats. I know it's kind of goofy, but I just think of wood, a lot of really neat old wood, old buildings, a lot of seashore places. I think of lighthouses and just areas of tranquility. So I really want to kind of to build that here, if and kind of create that sort of ease and just simplicity a little bit in my design. So that's why you're seeing a lot more maybe what we call country elements or things like that here. And Rhode Island was just it's basically a giant port. It was a giant port for always. And it's neat because there's such a neat group of different kinds of people as well. Most of our East Coast is just made of a lot of groups of folks. And it's one of those places that's just made up of several islands as well. It's just so different. It's just really cool. And because of their location, their weather is actually a lot better than maybe you would expect it to be, and then their erosion. Now that's the unfortunate thing though, is that they've had a little bit of issue with that too, because a lot of our East Coast has kind of been smacked around by some storms. So it's still so pretty though. But that's why I was thinking of the wooden stuff, because I was thinking driftwood, and I was thinking more shelly beaches that aren't so much sandy but rocky. And obviously they get inclement weather and stuff too. So then you're going to have cold beaches and that kind of stuff. So I just wanted to make everything a little more beachy, I guess you could say, but in a different way, just more muted from that vibe. So kind of just saying going with the pastel tones and sort of the lighter tones, and then kind of the medium wood tones to kind of bring in that feeling of something maybe you could find out, on the beach in Rhode Island, or a little cabin you might find towards the interior, in the hills or something. So, yay. So this is the unit, and now we're just going to go and take a peek on the inside. It's tiny, but yep, Rhode Island's for the square footage and size, it's one of our smallest states, I think. Yeah, it is. So if not the smallest. I'd have to look it up. I don't have my phone in front of me because obviously I'm recording, but I very much enjoyed like making this and just kind of going with what I knew rather than trying to educate myself even more, because I could really, spend a lot of time researching it and everything, but there's just a lot that you could fit into a video about a state or an area and their important significance to history, because every single one of our states, that's why we're the United States, because we literally have like every state belongs here for one purpose or another, and we all like really contribute to this the whole group as a whole, and really make sure that like the areas that don't have like obviously like farm ground or something like that, like we take care of the rest of the country and sell our products out through the US and the world as well. So it's really fun to kind of pay respect to that a little bit. And then everything leaves and pretty much goes out of the ports in the East Coast, especially in Rhode Island, because the way that it's shaped and stuff, it's just got a lot of exposure and like lower sea level exposure to the ocean, the Atlantic and stuff. So there's just a lot of areas there to plug into. Oh, it's so cool. I really like this unit because I just felt like it really felt like a family friendly place too, where you could just maybe go on vacation and relax and not have to clean or mess with a lot of other stuff. It's all just self-contained with the eating kitchen and not a lot of room to really lose people and still have like, a cozy space to relax and catch up with everybody. One can dream, right? So, and even just with like the more homey elements, like of putting the broom out in the hallway, that's like something else I was thinking of as well when I did that. So now you're seeing another one of the bedrooms, and I really like how this bedroom turned out too, because it had more of like an imported furniture flair idea too, because it's neat, but there's a lot of like Rhode Island and the Carolinas, they just had a lot of significance in terms of importing furniture and stuff before California really got together and China was the major importer. Then before that, it was really over on the East Coast. And so I would say like pre 1950s, and even maybe around then, and of course now as well, but back then it was like the place for imports and stuff. So like all this old, really antique, cool furniture exists there. And it's just really cool because everything would pretty much, that's where it first landed. Sometimes people just kept it, sold it like, or sold it locally rather than it going across the country. So there's been some really neat stuff like on an Antique Roadshow and stuff, like those sort of like that show, and then a couple other shows like it. So those sort of shows I've seen where there's just like furniture, like all these really neat antiques or like architectural pieces, because they had a lot of really cool crafters back in the day. And there was a lot of like forest sort of area too out towards the west side of the colonies. And so that was like where they were really starting to get going on doing forestry and things like that there down in like southwest, like Rhode Island, and then over. So it's back to the tranquility in the bathroom here. I really, really like a lot of our tile options in the game. I think that they're really normal looking, so to speak, because there are some items in here that just don't seem that lifelike to me, or that like people wouldn't even offer it at a store, that a buyer wouldn't, there would never be a meeting to say, yes, we're going to go with that item. Yes, we're going to sell that. Because, like pretty much everything that hits the market, there's got to be somebody saying, yep, sell it, put our stamp on it, and let's do it. So some meeting happens somewhere where people are like, yep. So that's one of the things about a lot of the paints and the tile, at least, that those items are like, yeah, those are legit. I like them. And then more of the family friendly, the open, like things, there's not enough space really, because there's not enough in the States. So a lot of builds are really small too. So the closets aren't large. there's a lot more like exposed like shelving or exposed sort of storage solutions instead of everything being behind like, you know, walls in a closet. So here is zooming back out. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I hope you guys have a great day. Stay proud and go out and do something magical. Thanks again for tuning in.